Hello everybody. So at this point you've had a chance to consider the issue routing in the American governance model and the fact that government organizations, they operate in silos. They have a tendency to pass things off to other organizations and then get passed back to the last one and so forth. So this fragmented approach. And you understand that the time required to correct the failures of the original institutions is just not there. And so when you look at fragmented approaches to criminal behavior, and the idea is slap handcuffs on everything and then let the rest of the system figure it out, not really effective in terms of preventing stuff in the first place. And so the idea is that if I want to get to the causal factors early on, before I'm slapping handcuffs on the problem, what do I need to do? Well, I need to change these institutions. And so, and here's a dilemma that you have, especially if you're in a law enforcement organization or other government organization dealing with these issues, is that you're expected to be a very good performer in your role in this particular organization. So the traditional role that you have to still fulfill that job while you're thinking in terms of, well, how can I be more effective at dealing with these complex issues? And again, going further upstream before the problems grow into ongoing criminal behavior. And so it's the job of the leadership of the organization, the executives, to change it. But that doesn't mean that you can't start contemplating and considering what can be done and offering those ideas up the chain of command, or hopefully you get to a position where you can have the authority to do that. But in order to operate in a collaborative network where you're working across these organizations, bringing these institutions in to go, let's think together about what we can do better. Well, you have to change the decision environment. You have to change how you do business. And one of the first things you have to consider is, again, in the resource realm, do we have time to do that? And in most cases, no. Why? And you're going to get the very streamlined version of this. Like I said, if you go to the master's program, we get a lot deeper and a lot more detail and equip you a lot more to actually do these things. But for now, conceptually, it's important for you to understand these are options. Is that in law enforcement, we waste a lot of time. We waste so much time, it's ridiculous. And so, give you an example. Somebody calls in for a past theft. We have no suspect information, no evidence, no leads, but we still drive to the reporting party to get their information that we already have in the dispatch computer, or maybe a little bit more, and then we ask what the item was, a description, if you have a photograph of it, serial number, what have you. Why does the officer need to be face-to-face with the reporting party to do that? So I'm wasting time and gas driving there, and then obtaining information I could have gotten online. They could have done an online report or a hybrid online report if we can create that system. But why am I wasting my time doing that? There's no evidence, there's no leads. If we had the person report online, guess what? They can put the serial number into their online report, and then we can have somebody at the station enter that into the stolen property system, so the officer never has to go there. I just bought myself time. How else can we save time? Let's see. Let's stop responding to false alarm calls. Moreno Valley, on an audit that I did one year, they wasted $1 million in a year responding to false alarms. 99+% of alarms that go off at homes and businesses are false. They're set off some accidental way. So my suggestion is, okay, since Ring cameras and other cameras like that are popular now and they're inexpensive, let's change our policy to we're not going to respond to those alarms unless somebody has actual video footage going on where there's somebody there that's not supposed to be. Come on, let's stop doing stupid. $1 million a year going to a false alarm? Why? I mean, especially on a property crime. So things like that. A non-injury traffic collision. And if the people that get involved in the crash, nobody's hurt, they can get the cars out of the way, and there's no indication that either of the parties are under the influence of drugs or alcohol, guess what? Y'all can exchange information, take some photographs. I mean, there's a lot of insurance apps out there. You can just file the claim right there. Have a nice day. I mean, we can still come if necessary to determine if the drivers are licensed or whatever, and if there are any issues or conflict. But then why do I need to write a report for a civil issue? I mean, I still might need to have statistics on traffic collision factors for city liability, and if we need to change kind of the street infrastructure and all that kind of stuff. But I'm wasting time taking a non-injury traffic collision report, who benefits from that? Usually the insurance companies, and indirectly sometimes the party, but I'm wasting time doing that. So the idea is, how can I go through the things that we take for granted as an organization of what we determine are our responsibilities and say, you know, that's kind of dumb, let's stop doing that. And so you can think of, especially if you're in the business already, what are some stupid things that we respond to that have no substantial social implications that we could reinvest that time into those factors that do have massive social implications. And one of those things is, why don't we reinvest higher into the school resource officer program, not necessarily to look for crime, which you still need to do that, but to look for causal factors that are in operation. There's a ton of data at the schools that will tell you, wow, I need to start looking for the kids that are not on the radar, that if I get involved in their lives in some way, I can prevent future crime. But I need time to do that. I need to train my people. I have to change the knowledge, skills, and abilities required to actually do that work. If my current knowledge, skills, and abilities are solely focused on making an arrest, finding guilt, slapping handcuffs on it, then I'm limited in terms of the causal factors that how do I prevent it from happening in the first place? How do I mitigate it when it does? How do I change behavior and character? What can I do to get in front of that